Yo, yo, what's going on, everybody? All right, give us a couple. Dun, dun, dun. What's up? What's up? What's up? New background, new day, guys. Mr. Bonnie, your promotion should be coming. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, you got to accept your promotion. There we go. There we go.
What's up, everybody?
New day, new background, new state.
Go.
Yeah, this is where it happens. This is where it happens. We're going to see how coordinated I am, I guess, when traveling. So we'll see. Sound is shared. I am ready.
It'll be a good one. Hope
What's up,
everybody's ready.
everybody? Happy Tuesday to y'all.
What was that?
I said happy Tuesday to y'all.
Happy Tuesday. Are you
Happy
whispering? You're in
Tuesday.
a library?
I'm not in a library. Is it quiet? I mean, I have my headphones on, but
You sound like you're trying to be gentle with us.
I'm not. I promise you I'm not. I can start yelling, but then the people from the other office are going to get concerned. I mean,
No,
I'll
it's
do it
okay.
if
Let's
that's what I
do
have
it.
to do
Let's
it.
do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if they're not logged in watching this, I mean, what are you doing? Right? You shut down an office.
That's right.
Welcome everybody for joining in to Roof Wars. And we're going to go deeper and deeper into the plot today. If you guys joined us last week for the kickoff, completely new theme, completely, I'll say, new content that we're bringing to you guys based upon what David and I are seeing in the field. Right? I'm out here. I'm in the I won't say in the ruts, but I am. I'm with you guys. We're doing this. We're growing this, and as we continue to be able to hone in and perfect it, we're continuing to be able to tweak what we do. And at that same part, the part I love about this, that David's just doing a phenomenal job, is that all of it makes so much. I say it's what it makes. All this is so fun. It's so fun going into the Reaper, going into the five fatalities, and now being able to tie the stuff together. The video that we have for you, I mean, nothing against any of the other videos because the other videos are awesome, but it doesn't even compare to this. It's sick. I'm just so excited about what we're actually bringing and how different it is. This is what I signed up for. This is what I want to be a part of. So I'm happy and glad to be here with you guys and be able to roll this out. Right, completely new style to it. So thank you everybody that's jumping in. Dun, dun, dun. If you guys don't know, we don't work by the Vince Lombardi rule. 15 minutes early. You're late. We're roofers. We're trying to get real world here. You're still late. I mean, technically it's 3:05 Eastern, but welcome. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys is that by the end of this training, you guys are going to be able to understand the first checkpoint. You guys are going to be able to start doing discovery, and you're going to be able to start disqualifying opportunities that should never have ever made it in your book of business. And that's my promise to you guys, is because if you look at a book of business, the most successful people that have the best close ratio are not just piling opportunities into their book of business. They're extremely selective and they know the industries, the types of people, and more importantly, the checkpoints that those customers or those prospects have to go through in order to be able to enter that book of business and to be able to take up the time, the energy, and the money that you guys have. So that's what we're going to start with today. By the end of this, you guys are going to understand the first checkpoint. You guys are going to understand a little bit more about what it means to discover and disqualify, because we always want to go in there with an open mind, and we'll talk about that today. But what we ultimately want to do is make sure that we're not going to clog it up with doing inspections on buildings and doing all of this work to be able to get a proposal that is ultimately DOA, right? Dead on arrival. And that's what you guys are going to get from today. So there's 3 checkpoints that we're going to run through. This is 9 weeks worth of content. We're in week 2 right now. If you guys are joining here and you were not here last week, reach out to us. We do got a recording of what happened last week. That'll be a kickoff that everybody will get. But yeah, I'm excited about this. You ready, David?
Ready? Let's do it.
We doing this?
We're doing it.
All right, cool. All right, so my name is Chad Westbrook. I'm the founder of Sales Alignment, Service Alignment, guys, which focuses specifically on raising the floor for the commercial roofing industry. And what that means is ultimately making everybody better. I've been a part of organizations where I've created multi-million-dollar sales reps, and it doesn't help our industry. It might help one sales rep get good, but if you're an owner, your company, you got to be able to raise the floor, because just because you got one rainmaker inside the company, it makes it super hard for everybody else to be able to duplicate it, especially if he's got the best accounts or the ones that are most active, and then you got to build that. So what we're talking about in all of this is, how do we discover and disqualify? How do we put better opportunities into the pipeline? And that's what I'm here for, guys. I spent the last almost 20 years of my career in the commercial roofing world, specifically on the service side. I've led some of the largest service initiatives, which we'll talk about a couple of them today. And yeah, I'm here to give back. I'm here to be able to have a fun time with you guys, tie into ultimately what has made some of my success inside the industry, and share it back with you. So thank you guys very much for showing up.
Hey guys, I'm David Bonney. I come from the startup, the fast startup world that's infused with venture capital, that's infused with VC money. And they're literally pouring tens of millions of dollars into your business so that you can double the growth of the company every single year. And it's a super stressful world to be in. I said this on one of our other meetings before. It's, that environment, they're bloodsuckers. I don't mean they're bad people, but they're going to go squeeze whatever they can out of it. People be damned. And we are basically just pawns in a game that they're playing. And although it was really exciting to be able to figure out all the strategies necessary to be able to do that, although it was really exciting to be able to understand how to grow and build teams that could scale revenue up massively, basically having the people that you care about in the company on the chopping block every quarter or every year if we didn't make it, was not the kind of environment that I wanted to be in. So that's why I left that world and I came over and started my own thing. And commercial roofing company was one of my first clients that I took on. That was about 8 years ago. And it's been 8 years of really taking those strategies and putting them into the commercial roofing industry and seeing how you can quickly grow a book of business and grow a sales team without all that stress. And that's where, Chad and I met about 4 or 5 years ago, and we saw a lot of commonalities in the way that we think about things and our fast growth processes, systems and strategies. And that's why we're here today, guys, to invest in you guys and give you guys the shortcuts. But I'm going to say this over and over again. Our shortcuts don't mean a dang thing if you don't do anything about it. Go do it. And don't be lazy. Don't do half of it. Go do it. We spent so much time. We've spent so much money to be able to get to the understanding that we're at today, which was better than we were at 12 months ago, 24 months ago, like Chad said, as we continue to optimize things. But guys, you have got to put it into action. And then you got to show up here, get in the chat and ask questions. We're here for you every single Tuesday. If you're not asking questions, then you're probably not executing. You're probably not finding the areas of disconnect in terms of what you're trying to do and what you thought you needed to do and whether or not it was working. So get active here, guys. Get with us. We're here to invest in you. We're here to help you guys grow your book of business and your sales to levels that they've never been before. So again, you guys can take care of the people that you love the most. That's what this is all about.
So I love that, because as we talk about this, to me, the only bad problem is the same problem. Which means if you guys are not getting out of your comfort zone, some of the stuff that we're talking about, yes, it's going to feel awkward, because change is awkward, right? So being able to take just one part of this and being okay, being uncomfortable, asking those questions. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Bring it back here. Let's talk about it. Throw it inside the chat. I tried this and this went sideways. That's what we're here to do. But the only bad problem, guys, is the same problem. So if you guys are battling the same issue that you've had last week, last month, last year, that is a problem. And if it's a new issue, something new that came up, there's something new that we need to solve, I'm 100% fine with that as long as we're constantly solving and moving, right? Staying in the same direction. We'll say it throughout this. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So if you're here, if you want to get better, if you want to be able to take that step, get comfortably being uncomfortable and take just one part of what we're going to be teaching today and roll it out. Just try it, see what happens with it. David, you want to take us to the next slide, sir?
Yeah, man. So this is the sales reaper, guys. This is the one that we're fighting against. Mythical character or not, this is real. This character leverages 5 fatalities. And when you go into a sales conversation and you're not executing from a position of being a trusted advisor, somebody who's there to help them and have a real consultative conversation that's going to help them answer the specific questions that they need to answer to be able to figure out the next step that they need to take, he is going to kill your deal. I mean, just imagine this guy with a machete, and he's about to take that machete across the face of that proposal. Just like the best horror movie that you guys have ever seen. That is exactly what this guy is doing. And he is killing your freaking deals over and over again. If you guys were with us last week, most of your deals are dead on arrival. Most of your deals were dead before you ever even pitched the proposal, and you're just wasting your time and everybody else's. And it doesn't need to be. We know who he is. We know how he's killing our deals. And because we know that, now we can work to prevent it. And when we can work to prevent it, we now have all the power to change our future. We have all the power to change our outcomes. And that's what we're here to give you guys. We're here to give you the power to create whatever outcomes you want in your role by understanding who your adversary is and how he's getting the best of you. So pay attention.
There's so much truth in all of this, guys, that when we start putting this together, we start talking about the 5 fatalities and then how ultimately, David, you said it perfectly, right? They're DOA. You guys are delivering a proposal, and at no point has your customer ever thought of awarding it or awarding it to you. And we're going to go through that, right? We're going to show you something today that's super, super cool. That's going to go right into that urgency side. So as we kind of jump into this, what we're teaching you guys, this is not all of a sudden something that we thought of, something we pulled from somewhere else. This is what I've done, guys. For the last 20 years, I've been specifically in roles to help companies grow initiatives, right? Specifically around service to be able to get more of those capital roofing projects. I've done it on all 3 sectors. Today, we're going to be talking about a local company that I was a part of that was a little bit less than 15 million. Last week, we talked about that 50, $70 million company that was regional. And I've been a part of a $100+ million company where I led some of the largest service initiatives throughout the United States. And what we're teaching you guys is ultimately, much like David said, it's the shortcuts. We're going to teach you how to be able to go in, understand your book of business, be able to qualify, or more importantly, disqualify the stuff that shouldn't be in there. So you're spending your time on the things that you actually need to do. This isn't all of a sudden something we made up or something that sounds cool. The 5 fatalities are real. They've never had a name to them, right? The Reaper has never been here until now. Now that we can actually understand what's happening and why these deals are dying, we can actually start fighting against it and doing something with it. So when we talk about the company I was a part of, it was down inside Texas, a little less than $15 million that they were doing. And when I joined in, they had 3 service trucks, and on average, they were doing about $200,000 a year per truck. Okay, so they had the trucks, they had the service coming in. They would every now and then they were sharing those employees with production based upon workload, those types of different things. They had a very big focus on capital. Okay, so when I first came in, they were, what are we bidding? A lot of attention was always on the capital side for where the revenue was coming from, right? Trying to always hit the grand slams to be able to hit the 15 million. And they were doing it through projects that were $2, $3, $4 million. Now, they did have something going for them that was really good but underutilized, and they were an MBE, so a minority business, and they were also a hub, historically underutilized business. So if you guys operate in any of those worlds, this is part of it, guys. They had such an awesome opportunity that was underutilized. Now, I was there for about 18 months. I think it was closer to 20. But one of the coolest things I'll say that I did is I took them not from three trucks at $200,000 a year. I took them to four trucks at $650,000 per year. This was almost a $3 million service division, and I added one truck. So when we talk about efficiency, right, this is efficiency. I didn't add overhead. What I did is I made sure that everybody was doing what they needed to be able to do. And I made a very, very clear path, a journey, if you will, between what sales does and what operations does. So everybody was able to be more efficient. We also had over 350 annual rooftop maintenance agreements. Now, this wasn't the largest. The largest is on the national one that we'll talk about, but we had 350 service agreements that we inspected annually. Break that down, guys. You know how many working days we have in a year? 200, which means every single day we were on one and a half, two roofs every single day doing inspections, which means I had proposals going out every single workday that we had. We talk about a book of business. We talk about growing and having good qualification skills. You don't have to hunt all day long. You don't have to go out and do drops in industrial parks, guys. You got to be able to understand how to get the most from your client and be that trusted advisor. That's what I was able to accomplish. So we look at a $15 million company. I walked in, it was about 600,000. 20 months later, they were about 3 million. And we had over 350 service agreements that we were inspecting on an annual basis. So again, I'm taking all of this methodology that we're showing you guys. I've executed this and I've performed some of the largest preventative maintenance, especially in that metro, for some of the largest clients that are in that area, 350 locations plus that they own, and I was a part of that. And I'm proud to be able to say that and say that what you guys are seeing here, what we're going to be teaching you is exactly what comes down to that. We talk about what's happening, and last week we dove into this, right? David and Goliath. It doesn't matter how many trucks you have. Okay. That's the one thing I'll tell you. If you're a sales rep in here and you got one truck and all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm going up against this big roofing contractor and they got 15 trucks and they have this massive office. Nobody cares. Okay. Let me just say that. Nobody cares. Because when that truck shows up into that building, when they pull in, guess how many trucks pull in for that service call, guys? One. One truck pulls in. Possibly two guys, maybe one guy. I know 100 million, $50 million companies that have one guy in a truck. It exists, okay? So don't think just because you only have one truck and you just have two guys inside of one truck that you are any less impactful. If anything, you are more impactful. I've been a part of those $100 million companies that it takes years to be able to change culture. It takes years to be able to change process and how process happens. If you got one truck, two trucks, three trucks, it's super easy to say, hey, why don't we start calling our clients on our way just to give them a little bit better experience? Those things are so easy to be able to do in the smaller companies, and it can make such a massive, massive impact on who you guys are, the culture that you deliver, and ultimately the service that you guys deliver. So don't worry about these big, massive roofing companies coming in. Don't worry about the companies that are possibly being bought out. Right? And these big, massive Goliath companies are coming in. I would fight it all day long with one truck and two guys because they can give the best experience. I don't care how big, how many trucks, anything. David will win every single time if you do it right. Huge part of this, guys. Do not ever, ever look down because you don't have as many trucks, you don't have as many guys, you don't have as many production crews. It doesn't matter. You guys have the ability to take those quick turns, and that's the David and Goliath part of this. You guys can be great, and it's not hard. It's easier than a $100 million company accomplishing it. All of this we're putting together. Yeah, David, go ahead.
That's right, guys. We basically we put all this into the 8-figure service division roadmap. I mean, this is a roadmap from stage to stage, and we won't go into this a ton here, but it doesn't matter what stage you guys are at. We understand what it's going to take to get that company from each stage all the way up to the territory titans that are a part of our programs. So don't think that any of this is just about, well, that's not for me because of this, this, and that. That's not real. Okay. If you're feeling that way as we're going through any of this content, go ahead and get into the chat and say, well, what about this when I'm dealing with this? Okay. with this circumstance in my company or the size that we are, what do you think? And we're going to be here in the chat for you guys, but know that we span the whole thing from 0 all the way to 10 million plus in service revenue a year. So
Every single step here, guys, is real. And if you're a sales rep showing up here saying, hey, it doesn't apply to me, give me 1 second and I'll show you how to be able to make it to that rainmaker. But every company runs through these same stages. You are always starting as a bootstrap builder when you start the truck. You are one truck. You're selling the work and you're doing it yourself. Once you go beyond that, it goes to growth gone wild because you have no work, it rains, and then you have 50, 100 work orders, and it's crazy. You don't know what to do. All of a sudden, you're working all day, all night, just trying to get the work done. You take the step from there and you start understanding what your business is, and we call that strategic scalar. And that's when you can truly start building your business based upon what you do great. Then you can start adding trucks. Then you can start conquering that metro and really turn into that territory titan, much like David says, 10 million. I don't care who you are. I don't care what roofing company you're with. You go through these same exact stages, and you have to go through these stages to be able to get that security and stability, right? To be able to grow into that territory titan. Now, when we talk about what it takes to be that territory titan, you have to have 7-figure sales reps. Okay. $1 million service sales reps. So think about the work that you guys sell, the service work that you guys sell. The first thing I'll tell you is it doesn't matter. The roof doesn't matter. It doesn't. Your clients, and we're going to talk about this, right? But your clients have a problem, and that problem is not a roof leak. Let me assure you, it's not a roof leak. Your client's problem is water on the floor. Your client's problem is stained ceiling tiles, damaged product, and we'll go through all of this stuff. But in order to be a 7-figure sales rep, you have to be able to get to the pain. You have to be able to understand it. Now, the first person I'll tell you right here, Tucker, based out of Indianapolis. Tucker started as a waiter at Olive Garden. He came in on telemarketing and then went to outside sales where he was producing over $1 million within the first 12 months. I want to say he had upwards of a $2 million capital replacement project. I was a part of that, and he used service to be able to get it. $2 million on a private negotiated side, that does not go early. He used service the whole time to be able to lock that in. So not only was he a 7-figure service rep on the capital side, he was on the service side as well. The second person I'll tell you about is Cody. So Cody worked in outsourced labor, which means he was going to job sites and basically saying, hey, you need a plumber, you need an electrician, whatever it might be, to be able to make sure that some of these new construction jobs had what they needed. Zero roofing background, guys. We got him in here. We gave him the map and the plan to be able to start growing. And he had $4.3 million. I want to say he closed out closer to 6 million within his first year. It's about understanding what your client is trying to accomplish, because it's not putting a new roof on. It's trying to protect the assets inside the building, the $1 million CNC machine that's being put in there. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a food manufacturing plant. And they have to make sure that everything is safe, because for every hour, that's a true story. I was on a craft building. One of their lines cost them $10,000 per hour that it was down. Okay. Real story. Think about that. They cannot shut that down. It costs them money. That's what they're trying to solve. Cody figured that out. The last one I'll talk about is Ryan. Ryan's based out of Florida. Originally met him when I was much, much younger, but he was in radio station ads. He was selling radio station ads, brought him in. He did a phenomenal job at telemarketing. And you can see he made his way through the ranks. He went inside sales. He went to a national account manager. And then ultimately he found his spot as a strategic account manager, where he was able to not only grow, but he was able to cultivate and farm what is ultimately multi-million-dollar service accounts. So right now, $2.5 million in service sales. And one of the coolest parts about this is that he hasn't hit his cap. He has customers that are spending more money than they're giving to him. So he's got the ability to be able to scale beyond this. So if you notice one thing about this, they're not roofing experts. They work inside roofing their entire year. You don't have to be a roofer to be a 7-figure service sales rep, guys. You don't have to be. So when we talked about what's that program, what's that process look like? Well, first off, you start as a storm chaser. So if you're a sales rep, this is for you guys. You start as a storm chaser, which means you're going to wait for that roof to leak, that storm to move in, so you can have that first opportunity. It's okay. We've all been there. But what you have to start doing is you have to start making that change to be able to understand where your leads come from. Leads don't just come from storms. You have reactive clients, you have proactive clients. And after you start figuring that out, you move into a sales slayer. Or you can actually start lining up deals and you can start slaying deals because you understand the qualification process. You understand that only the best opportunities make it into your book of business. So when you look at your book of business, it's real. The last step inside there before you become a roofing rainmaker is a harvesting hero. And that's the scale side of this. You can start harvesting because your customers need what you do. They need safe and secure buildings. And if you can partner with them, become that trusted advisor, that's your step to getting into that roofing rainmaker side. Because you understand, okay, here's how I scale, here's how I grow. And when you set goals in front of you, it's really simple when you break it down. We either got to grow our business or we got to scale our business. And when that rainmaker can understand exactly what they need to do in order to be able to hit those goals, understand what their clients are spending, that's the top 1% of the 1%, guys. They understand where their money is coming from and they understand it on July 1st, or sorry, January 1st. Before the year even starts, they know exactly what they have to do. They have a plan, and it's not all of a sudden turning into $1 million sales rep in July. Because you know what happens every single month you miss, guys, you got to make it up later in the year. You got to know what you're doing every single day, every single week, every single month. And that's what we're showing you is how you're going to take that step. One thing I want to tell you guys as we step in this is that the first qualification, the first checkpoint that you guys are going to have, okay, is the problem big enough to act? Is the problem big enough to act? Nobody cares that there's stained ceiling tiles. Nobody cares that there's water on the floor. No one cares about any of that until it disrupts their world. As soon as their world gets disrupted, as soon as they're doing something that they don't want to do, they instantly get to the point that they will pay money to change their reality. Think about that. That's what they're doing. They're not paying to fix the leak. They're paying to fix their reality, to put it back to how they want, how it was, or how they want it to be. That is what they're doing. That's why they invest money into the roof, is because something is affecting the reality. And there have been way, way too many times. And guys, throw it inside the chat if you're a part of this. There have been way too many times that I have delivered my proposal thinking I know exactly what the problem is. The problem is the missing fasteners on the edge metal that came out on the ridge cap, right? Metal roof, it's got a ridge cap, it's missing fasteners, water's coming straight in. It's a penetration, right? That, oh, it's simple. Just a small little cold weld in there that we got to do it. I can think of 10, 15, 20 plus proposals where I've delivered the proposal and it didn't even matter that I delivered it because that customer had every single intention of doing the work themselves. It was DOA. And it was DOA because I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't go through the right checkpoints. So what we're going to be talking about today is exactly that, guys. You walk into a building, you see stained ceiling tiles, and you get all happy. Oh, they got roof leaks. I can take care of this. And you get up there and you find that it's a pipe clamp and some sealant. Oh, this is so simple. It's cool. It's an easy $500 sale. Until they get the proposal and they never respond back to you and they never tell you what's going on. And the leak just magically goes away. And they don't need you anymore because they did it themselves. That's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Is the problem big enough for them to do something about it? David, you want to take us into the 5 fatalities, sir?
Yep. Guys, this is one of the core things. If you're going to enlist into our army in roof wars against the Reaper, the ill-hearted arc conglomerate, you got to know the 5 fatalities, guys. You have to know why your deals are dying. If you don't know the cause of death, you can't prevent it. Okay. And we're going to drill these things into your guys' head. The 5 fatalities are timing. It's not the right time. This isn't painful enough. Competition. There's some other route that I should be taking. Most of the time it's internal competition. Price, your commodity offering, you're just like everybody else, and I'm going to distill it down to the lowest bidder. Trust in your company or trust in you as a salesperson. You guys need to realize that trust there is huge for you, but also trust in your offering. Not how many years you've been in business, guys. That's part of it, but that's only one part of it. And lastly is product fit. You got to make sure that your deals aren't dying because, like we said on the competition, or sorry, on the price side, that you've oversimplified the problem, and therefore everybody is offering the same solution. You got to make sure that you're aligning and showing them that you're the right fit. or that you're the right company to be able to solve the problem that they're experiencing. Now, as we go through and do this, when we work with companies, we deal with something called the Trinity of Resurrection. And again, we're just going to hit this lightly. The key 3 steps that we focus on when we're helping any company go through any of this, the first thing is going to be, we do a sales autopsy. We want to understand why your deals are dying, because when we can understand which fatality is causing the majority of your closed loss deals, we can then focus in on that fatality. Now, most of the time, timing is the fatality that kills the majority of deals. And that's what we're going to be going through here today. So this is going to be a great session for you guys. This is by far the most prevalent fatality to kill your deals. Okay. But when we understand what that fatality is, we can move to the next step and we can start to give you guys strategies. We can start to provide strategies, and we have 12 core strategies that will help us do things differently to now prevent that from actually happening. And then from the strategic side, we then have sales fatality defense training, which is in part what you guys are going through here. These are the specific things that you guys can do to make sure that these fatalities do not kill your deals when they shouldn't be. You're never going to close 100%, guys, but you should be avoiding these fatalities when in fact it was the right time. You just weren't able to crack in. You were the right vendor. You just weren't able to create alignment on product fit, et cetera, et cetera.
So what we're going to be talking about today, so before we jump into this video, so you guys can have the right mindset, go into your book of business and sort by the date that you delivered the proposal. Okay? I know it's going to be scary. Do it. Do it right now. Go into your opportunities, sort by the date that you quoted the job. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you is, how long is that proposal good for? If you don't know, that's the first super, super scary part. Go find out. But ultimately, on a service side, 30, 60 days, right? You're going to deliver a proposal and it's going to be 30 or 60 days. And then you're going to deliver a re-roof and it's going to be 90 days or whatever it might be. I've been a part of book of businesses, and I'm not calling anybody out that's going to be in this meeting or that's watching right now, but we are at months, if not quarters, if not half of years, if not years that it's sitting in there. And that's what we're going to be going through today, guys. That's what we're going to be talking about. Is that problem really big enough to act if they've had a proposal for a year and have never done anything? You ready, David?
Do it.
All right, guys. Movie time.
In the high-stakes world of commercial roofing, every unchecked problem is a ticking time bomb, waiting to unleash chaos. Helping building owners know when to act is the key to preventing disaster.
He's done it again. He's wreaking havoc on these people's lives. Several DOA leak repair proposals led this prospect to continually avoid doing anything about it. Now their roof is in total ruin and needs to be replaced far earlier than it should have. The Reaper wins again.
The rapid rise to power of the Apex Roofing Coalition, otherwise known as ARC, seems like an unlikely coincidence. More on this story later tonight.
The Sales Reaper thrives on inaction. His plan? Sabotage any leak repairs to worsen the damage, wreaking chaos on buildings. Ultimately, he aims to force complete re-roofs, bringing in his goons from ARC to underbid every job and dominate the industry.
Service sales reps are playing right into the Reaper's hands when they are unable to uncover their prospects' pain. Are these leaks causing business disruptions? Is the damage escalating repair costs? Is it affecting tenant satisfaction and retention? Or, God forbid, has it increased the chance of a slip-fall hazard? The roofing syndicate has started using the urgency test in every sales conversation, and it's working. But I'm worried it may be too late.
The urgency test is our tool to understand the critical impact. Each question is a step closer to understanding the prospect's pain points and establishing the urgency needed to take quick action. We have to stop worrying about water tests. Just because you found the issue with the roof doesn't mean the problem is causing enough pain to do something about it. Timing, timing, timing. Stop letting this fatality kill your deals.
we have yet another proposal dead on arrival. The suspected perpetrator, the Sales Reaper.
There you go, guys. Timing. Okay. In your book of business, every opportunity that you have should have some type of duration to when the client's going to make a decision. To me, this is the scariest thing, is that we've done all of this work, and it's not that you lose the job to any of the other 4 fatalities. Nobody gets the job. And that is a sales rep's problem. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but that is your problem. If your client is not taking action at all, that is a checkpoint that you guys should have crossed before any work went in to creating the proposal and putting all of the different things together. Mr. Bonney, you want to take us through urgency test, sir?
Yeah. All right, guys. So we, like the video said, we focus on water tests all the time, but we're focused on a test that is ultimately going to be DOA. That's ultimately not going to freaking matter because we haven't figured out whether or not there's enough urgency or priority for them to be able to go through it. So the urgency test is the most important test, not water tests. This is the most important test. And for us to be able to understand why, we're going to give you guys a quick refresher on buyer's intent. Why are people engaging in the buying process? Why are they engaging? Actual buyers. Remember, guys, we're never going to close 100%, but we want you guys to close the deals that you should be closing. Get the customers that actually need your help. They're actually looking to buy something from somebody new. Okay. Now, when you get actual buyers in the process, their intention is to find the best solution to solve the actual problems, because they don't know the real problems. They only know the surface level, causing them enough pain. I have a lot of problems. I don't go solve all of them, and keeping me from important outcomes. This is the intention of any buyer. This is another one of those things, guys. If you're going to enlist in the Army, if you're going to join us in Roof Wars, you've got to get this stuff memorized. You have to understand your buyer. If you do not understand your buyer, they will see that from the sales conversation and the experience that you put them through, and they will not engage with your offering more often than not. You will lose people that you should be helping just because you're not investing the time to understand who they are and what it is that they're looking for. And this has taken me 20 years to be able to figure all this stuff out and try to combine it down into the simplest 4 squares I can give you guys. It's 4 squares. 4 squares. Like, this isn't even long enough for a tweet. Like, this isn't even half a tweet back in the day. I know it's X now. This is like 20 words. Guys, if you can't memorize 20 words, then you don't want it bad enough. And I want you guys to want it bad enough for yourselves and for those that you care about most, because sales is a game that rewards those that invest the most time. And we're professionals, guys. We're not screwing around here. We're not playing open gym. We are sales professionals. This is our craft, and we're going to be the best possible professionals in our craft as we can. And we want our prospects to see that. And the best way to do that is for us to understand them and meet them where they're at.
So before we go in this, I want to break this down sales style. Okay. So roofing sales style, they intend to find the best solution. Understand that their understanding of the best solution is their perception of it. So if we don't do a good job educating them on what's going on, they're going to make a decision based upon their perception of the best solution. Which means if we don't do anything to be able to separate ourselves, and we'll talk about this as we go deeper into it, price could very easily be what they see as the best solution if we don't do our part. The actual problems, I've already said this many times, it's not the roof. The roof leaking is not the actual problems, because if the roof leaks, who cares? What difference does it make? But is it causing water to get on product, damaged product, right? We talked a little bit about it inside the video, slip fall hazards. Is it disrupting people? We can't work. Those are actual problems. And if you're so focused on getting on the roof, you're going to bypass the actual problems that are causing, right? That pain is disruption. Your client's perception is their reality. Most of the time, they've never even been on the roof. They might be on the other side of the United States. So you need to understand what their perception of the problem is. And if you don't do good discovery, you never will. Oh, there's a roof leak? Yeah, no problem. Let me hop up on the roof. I'll see what's going on. Absolutely not. We have to do good discovery to understand what is the problem that they're looking to be able to spend money on to be able to change their atmosphere. What does it look like? And we got to be able to understand what's it keeping them from doing. That's the ROI side of this. So I'm going to go through this each time, guys, but they intend to find the best solution based upon their knowledge, their understanding, right, to solve the actual problems. Most of the time, they don't understand what the actual problems is. They see what the perception is, which is the roof leak, causing them enough pain. That's our discovery side, keeping them from what they actually want to do. We got to be able to break this down. It's not crazy hard. Much like David said, it's 4 squares, guys, but these 4 squares are so insanely important to you guys, not just selling a job, but to you guys becoming a trusted advisor. This is the key to it. But David, I just wanted to be able to break that down even deeper because this is so, so important to understanding the framework of what we're building.
All right. So guys, last week we talked about the causes of death, okay, on DOA proposals. And each one of those causes of death relates to a checkpoint. We covered that again last week. The 3 checkpoints are, do they actually need to take action or not? Just because they're engaged in the process doesn't mean they have to, guys. Do they actually need new or outside help? Can they use their maintenance team? Do they already have an existing roofer? The devil you know is better than the devil that you don't, guys. Just because they're engaged in the process does not mean that they're actually going to choose a new solution. And then
we're
lastly,
always so afraid to ask the question, right?
right?
Why is it that we're always just so afraid to be able to say, are you working with someone right now? Because we're afraid that we're going to get the answer that we know. Sorry, I had to say that because it's always there. We know it's like, oh man, yeah, I forgot to ask that question. It's like, it's the most important question. Sorry.
It is. And we will teach you guys exactly how to ask it so it doesn't come off weird, so you don't come off salesy, dripping of commission dollars. We're going to have you guys ask it in a way where they understand. I need to know this information for your sake and mine. And guess what, guys? The answer that you're afraid of, you're rarely going to get. Because if they're actually a buyer, they actually do need to act because they have plenty of other stuff to do than talk to you. If they're actually a buyer, they're going to need outside help. In fact, they're not going to magically think, oh, wow, yeah, maybe I should go back to my old roofer. They've already thought about it, guys. This is about you qualifying your prospects, but doing it effectively is how we're going to show you. And then checkpoint 3, guys, is do we have the best solution? And guys, this is where a lot of times, again, we come to the proposal with our deals already dead on arrival because we haven't gotten past the first 2 checkpoints. And we're also going to tell you guys a lot of your proposals are dead on arrival, even if you got past the 2 checkpoints, if your proposal is just another PDF that they've seen from everybody else. It doesn't help. Your incompetent buyers decide how they're going to solve the actual problems, causing them the most pain, and why you're the actual best solution. It doesn't help them. The PDF, all your pretty little pictures and your freaking headers up on your Word document, it doesn't help. No offense. Go ahead, Chad.
No, so I want to bring you guys in the real world, okay? And this is what I think of. Delivering a report, right? We know that there's the primary CRM systems, front-end systems that we use. And I had a customer, and I still vividly remember this. I did this 100-page report. No joke, guys. It was 100 pages. We bound it. It was beautiful. This thing was amazing. And do you know what he did? He opened it up and flipped to the last page and started going backwards because he wanted to see the price. All my value, all the hard work, everything that I did to create this perfectly beautiful solution to the problems that he was having, right? All the down units, all this different stuff that we're going to do that's going to make us all great, great, great. I gave him the proposal and we flipped to the last page. And I instantly got commoditized because he was going to look at that price and instantly in his head make a decision. Am I going to talk further to this guy? I know it's not story time with chat, but like that's what comes to mind when we're talking about this stuff. It goes right to the last page. David, just like you said, everybody has a PDF, right? How are you going to make yourself different? First off, don't deliver the proposal. We'll talk more about that, but checkpoint 1.
Guys, so when we understand the checkpoints, we need to understand the process to actually reach those checkpoints. And that's what we call the buyer's action plan. If you create a plan of action for your buyers on how they're going to solve the actual problems causing them the most pain and keeping them from important outcomes, they're actually going to choose you more often than not. They're going to choose you more often than you realize. And that's what this is all about. That's what being a trusted advisor is all about. It's about calling a spade, qualifying people, getting through a process. Now, for the people that are in our programs, remember, guys, you have this on your freaking phones. The questions are there. You can press a button because we know what the possible answers are. There aren't 100 different answers to each one of these questions. It's so simple. About half of you guys are in our programs in attendance today. Use the app. It's right there for you. Okay? Make sure you're not, just like Chad said, forgetting to ask a question. You're human. Stop doing that. Use your phone. Look at it. Make sure you're hitting each one. As long as you're practicing before, you're not reading off a script, guys. That's for amateurs. You should know your play. When the play gets called, you should be able to run it. And you just have this as a quick reference and a way to be able to click on some buttons to fill in the answers, and then you can type in the summary later and send it over to your prospect. But this is in your pocket, guys. Everything we're going to teach you guys, for the people that are in our program, this is in your freaking pocket. Is it time for the urgency test?
Oh, it's time. It's
Oh,
time.
baby. Oh, baby. All right, the urgency test, guys, not the what, the freaking urgency test. Do they need to act? Well, the way that we figure that out is first, we set the agenda. Make sure you guys do that. Tell them what you're going to do and why it's going to give them value, and do it quickly and get their agreement on it. And then from there, we got to figure out what their objective is. Do we know why they scheduled the meeting? Okay. And their objective is going to be one of four things, guys. They're either trying to solve a current problem, they want to avoid a near-term issue that they already know is going to bubble up here, but just hasn't yet, and they've gotten lucky. They're going to want to prevent long-term problems, or they're wanting to get ahead of problems. They're wanting to achieve a goal and get more proactive with their roof. It's one of four. That's it, guys. This is it. Ask the stinking question and figure out which one of the four answers. Don't ask these crazy, obscure questions right off the bat. Don't ask if they've heard about you. None of it freaking matters. You don't matter. Your company doesn't matter until you figured all this other stuff out. And then you can actually talk to them about yourself, because then they'll actually care. Okay? But we need to be able to figure out what is their objective. Why are they spending the time to meet with you? If you're going out and making a cold call and you get them on the phone and they say, I've got 15 minutes now if you want to talk, and you go right into the meeting, okay, great. Then whatever it was in your cold call script, however you got to that meeting, that should have aligned to a problem or goal too, so that you can move straight into it. Okay? It's a problem or a goal, guys. That's it. And it's around one of these four areas. Now, once you get this answer, now you've opened up a beautiful green pasture for yourself ahead that you can just freaking run straight down on this beautiful spring day. Is it summer in June? I don't know, but it's beautiful out here today. I'd much rather be taking this call outside, but my audio is not great. Because once you understand what their objective is, now you can figure out who else cares. Not who are the people that I need to get involved here so I can sell you. No, who else cares about this? And this is where you guys are going to figure out the responsibility versus authority. Going to go to the next slide. Who's responsible for solving the problem? That's what you want to figure out. Who else cares about this? And really what I want to figure out, who's responsible for solving the problem? Who has the authority to make the decision? And what's their process for buying stuff like this? When you can get those three key pieces of information, you can now bookmark, oh man, I got to get Bill involved in this. Okay, when I go send my summary link, my workspace, people in our program, when I send this, now that I know that Bill's a part of this, I'm going to tell, hey, Chad, I know you said Bill was going to be a part of this whole decision. Why don't I just put him on the email? Because I'm going to send you over a summary of everything that we talked about today. What's his email? Oh, Bill at? Great. Boom. And now I've got Bill engaged in the process.
Now I'm going to make this super, super short.
Now, way to engage him. Go ahead.
I'm going to make this super short. This is when you guys deliver a proposal. You're talking to the guy. You're like, oh, this guy's going to buy. This is the best deal ever. And then you follow up with him. And he goes, yeah, I gave it to my district manager. He should be reviewing it. That's what happens when you don't ask these questions. You find out that someone else is involved inside the process that cares about it, or worse than that, guys, doesn't care about it. I've been in that situation way too many times, where the store manager or the MOD or whoever, the gas station manager arrives like, oh man, I got to get this taken care of, da, 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 da. And then all of a sudden it goes to the district manager and he's like, nah, we got, every store has 5 leaks. This is his first, he's fine. There's so much to discover with this question, guys. And that's what I'm saying at the beginning of this. take it and use it. Who else cares about this? It's okay, whatever their answer is. Is it the people? Is it his managers? Who else cares about this? That's going to help them solve the problem. That's what you got to figure out.
All right, guys. So now you have the problem that that actually want to solve. You understand who the key players are in this whole story. Now you need to understand their current reality. What have they tried to do to solve this, and why has it failed? We know it's failed because they're still dealing with the problem. Now, as soon as we can figure out what they've tried to do, one, that'll make sure that we can narrow in our proposal at the end if they're qualified, and we can make sure we're not just slinging over the same stuff that they've already tried that didn't work. This also starts to drive a wedge between them and their existing resources, which is in checkpoint 2. This is doing a little bit of dual work here, okay? But the biggest issue on this is this gets them into their pain. Think about when you go back and you're like, oh God, yeah, we tried this, that didn't work. We tried this, that didn't work. We tried this, that didn't work. And then as you're telling the story, you're actually getting more frustrated and irritated about the issue. We want to take them back into those past memories. We don't want to open up that vault, and we want those demons to like rush out and flood into the story. You want to do that because that is going to create the emotional element to all of this, guys. Remember, people take action based on emotion, and that frustration is key to this. Go to the next slide. So the key on this is, at this point, you're going to figure out, are they using their maintenance team to do stuff on this? Or to do work to be able to solve this? Or do they actually have an existing roofer? This is where you're really going to start to figure that out right off the bat. Or you're going to figure out that they're not doing anything about it. Which if they haven't done anything about it, that begs the question, then why are you doing something about it now? Has it gotten really bad? Because if not, you guys know the procrastinators out there. They're going to take your proposal. They feel good that they took a step towards it, and they're going to go put it in a folder in their inbox. That's it. Right? So you need to be able to understand that. Do they use their maintenance team? Do they already have a roofer? Do they just not take action on these problems for a reason? And you're there to actually just make them feel better about themselves, because that's not your job. Your job is to go help the people that need the help, not the people that want to make themselves feel better by taking half measures. All right. Now we get to the final step. Okay, guys, 4 steps to be able to figure. That's it. 4 steps. This is not a script. These are just a step-by-step process. 4 steps to be able to figure out if this is an urgent priority for somebody. Are they clear on the worst possible outcomes if this isn't solved? This is now what we want to understand, guys. This is where it all starts to happen. Realistically speaking, right? Not the building is going to crumble, but realistically speaking, what is the worst thing that's going to happen if they don't solve this? If it's not fixed correctly the first time? What if they choose not to do anything at all? What is their perception? Because perception is reality. And if they don't see any major issue happening with this, then boom, that's your red flag. You can go into education if you want, but that's a red flag that this is not a high priority. Those dollars are probably going to go towards something else. Other problems are going to be prioritized. Okay. This is where you've got to get into it and crack down to it. This is just like Chad said, the problem is not the roof. The problem is the pain that is being caused by whatever that leak is doing to their building or to their staff, to their productivity, just like the video. The video rattled off the 4 major areas that you guys are going to be looking for on this. Okay, it's going to come down to one of those 4 areas. Productivity, product, revenue, slip fall hazard, worsening problems that are going to cause higher dollar repairs later. It's it. It's not 100 different answers, guys. You're looking to get them to one of those, but their own personalized one. And what that will do is that will now show you what the real cost of this is. Cost is not your proposal. Cost of this leak is the problems that it's causing, the pain that it's creating on their operations, and ultimately the amount of money and time that they're going to have to spend to solve it. Okay.
The beautiful part about this, guys, is that each one of these questions that you have here, you get to turn this into a conversation. A script is something that you read one for one, right? So it's like, hey, David, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on. You got a problem or a goal? right? And then we can, and then David can answer, and he can give me an answer that's most of the time. This is supposed to be emotional, right? It's like, oh, I'm having leaks all over. It's like, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. So who all cares about this? Right. And he tells me who else cares about it. It's like, all right, so what have you guys done so far? Have you guys tried to do anything and solve it so far? Right. And then, okay, so if ultimately you guys don't do anything right now, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And again, I know this can be awkward, right? For me, these are awkward questions, right? And before I started asking these and understanding that I'm here to be able to help my customer. And if I don't ask these questions, I'm actually doing a disservice to my customer because my customer is not thinking about ultimately what's going to happen if he makes the wrong decision, the wrong contractor does it. We got to be able to do it again. The leak comes back and he fixes all the drywall for the tenant. And then all of a sudden, the $3,000 worth of paint and drywall he does is now destroyed again. That stuff's real, guys, and you need to be able to talk about that because if you only want to talk about the roof, go get commoditized somewhere else because that's how they're going to treat you. They're going to treat you as like, that's the roofer. No. I'm here to be able to get that unit back online so you can get a tenant in that building so you can start bringing money back in. Because I know if I can help you make money the way you make money, you're going to, in return, carry me with you to where it is. That's a trusted advisor, guys. That's what we're trying to do. Create a conversation off of this. The questions are here, but it's your job to create that conversation. Right? So there's one question, right? This is the one thing, the first checkpoint, the first milestone that you guys have to be able to hit. Is the prospect's problem big enough to act? And I'm going to take you guys back into the book of business that I asked you to open up earlier. Every single proposal that you have, is the client's problem big enough for them to spend money on it? And if you don't know, we call it halftime and we're going to go into it. Get back in that opportunity. You can go back and ask these questions. That's okay. It's okay to be able to say, hey, I just want to just understand. I know you guys are having the proposal out there. Who all cares about this? It's okay to go back in and ask the questions if you miss them. It's not over. But you guys have to be able to figure out what's going on, or you are going to die to one of the fatalities, right? Timing is the one that's creeping on all of this, especially if you went to your book of business, sorted by how long it is. I'm going to tell you anything greater than 60 days is at risk, guys. Unless you have a projected close date from that customer to say, hey, this is a Q3 project. We have the money that's available on September 1st. Other than that, I'm going to tell you it's at risk. And you guys have to be able to figure this out. Checkbox 1 is the problem big enough to act. That's what you guys need to figure out. That's how we're going to defeat the Reaper. That's how we're going to be able to put a name on every single deal that dies. And as soon as we start doing that, then we can start fighting against it. Then we can start understanding that most of my deals are dying because of timing. And now we can start putting those strategic plans together to be able to help you as an individual rep. Right? That's what David and I do. We help individual reps be able to raise the floor. They get better at what they're doing. So we're giving you guys those keys. So take whatever part clicked with you guys today. Whatever part you're going to take, if it's the 4 questions, if it's the urgency test, if it's understanding that your client's reality is based upon what they see, not what you see. It's not the blisters and open seams and punctures up on that roof. They see this world. And if you're not taking the time to understand that, you're going to lose more deals than you should. There's 3 checkpoints that we're going to go through. Checkpoint 1, must they take action? It's the first part of this, guys. You have to understand, are they actually going to make a decision? Are they actually going to spend money? Because if they're not, it's nothing more than a budget. And you got to be okay with a budget, because a budget is not going to get marked as sold. A budget is not going to get you closer to your goal. Checkpoint 2, do they need new or outside help? Right? That's what we're trying to figure out. Okay, you got a contractor. You used a contractor for 5 years. Why are you asking for a bid from me? Figure out what that gap is, and we'll talk about prying that gap next week and getting up there and figuring out, do you really need a new contractor, or are you going to take my proposal and go do it yourself? And then checkpoint 3, do you have the best solution? Which means you have to be able to separate yourself from everybody else. Because if you're not separating yourself from everyone else, you're just another roofer with a price higher than the other guy. Don't be that guy. You have the ability. We're going to teach you guys how to separate yourself from this, how to be a trusted advisor, and how to win more deals. But the first thing you got to understand, You got to understand those 5 fatalities, and you got to be able to put a name to each one of those dead deals that you have. That's part of the autopsy. So we're giving you guys all of these keys. We're giving you all of this stuff. Now it's up to you guys to be able to start executing it. David, anything you want to add before we close out here, sir?
We're almost on time. We almost did it. We did good.
Almost.
Execute. Okay. We had some people active in the chat today. I want to see more next week. I want you trying this stuff, and I want you bringing questions to us. You literally have us 35 years of experience at your disposal. You're not using us every Tuesday. You make me angry because I love all you guys. I love all of you, and I want y'all to do better. And when you don't ask us more questions, you're probably not going to be doing as good as you can be. And that makes me angry because I love you.
Don't make David mad. Don't do it. Just go kick ass. Just leave here, go sell something, market as sold, and then come back and be like, yo, I tried this and it worked. That's what I want. Just don't make David mad in the process.
Guys, this is Roof Wars.
Roof Wars. See you guys later.